I'm the youngest. My oldest brother, single. My second sister, independent. My third brother and fourth sister. They're pretending to be step-siblings in a drama. The whole fake romantic acting thing. Mom and Dad were losing it. They sat me down, hands literally shaking, and asked, "Hello? Please tell us you're normal. Please tell us there's nothing weird going on with you." I pulled out my phone, opened my photo gallery, and showed them a picture. My boyfriend's a punk. They literally sighed with relief. A punk? That's great. We love punks. Punks are wonderful. Then a line of luxury cars pulled up outside our building. This guy stepped out of a Rolls-Royce, wearing a custom-tailored suit that probably cost more than our car. That was Asher Sterling, my so-called punk boyfriend. My family's jaws hit the floor. Wait, where's the punk? I pointed at his hair right there. Bleached blonde. See? After Asher left, my siblings literally huddled in the corner crying. If we'd known he was a rich hottie, we never would have pretended to be distant and into fake acting. We're a blended family. Mom had 2 sons with her ex-husband, my oldest brother and third brother. Dad had 2 daughters with his ex-wife, my second sister and fourth sister. I'm the only kid they had together after they got married. Since I'm the only child they share, they couldn't really discipline each other's kids properly. So guess who became the punching bag? Me? That's right. I was the one who always got in trouble. I've been a little off since I was a kid. When I was little, I cried for hours because my parents got married without inviting me. No one cared. So I just went and ate cake by myself. In elementary school, Mom called me lazy. I swore I'd become a cold, ruthless studying machine to make them regret it. I studied hard for one whole afternoon, realized being edgy was exhausting, and gave up immediately. My siblings are all brilliant. Like they got every good gene from our parents. But by the time it got to me, 2 negatives made a negative. I'd see them sitting together sighing about me. My parents even took me to get my IQ tested. The result came back showing I was intellectually challenged. Your blood pressure skyrocketed. But here's the thing, I'm not stupid. I'm just incredibly lazy. Dad's a scientist. Mom's a mathematician. My oldest brother's a famous lawyer. My second sister's a top surgeon. My third brother's a celebrity. My fourth sister runs her own company, SCO. With resources like that already in place, why would I even try? I figured out early on that the moment you show any talent, people expect you to work non-stop to maintain that genius label. But I'm way too lazy for that. Still, watching them walk around with worried faces, awkwardly defending me to outsiders while clearly embarrassed, I felt a little bad. Fine. I'll throw them a bone. I put in the tiniest bit of effort and boom. Top of the grade, just like that. Before me, the top student was my desk mate, Asher Sterling. After I took his number 1 spot, he stared at the ranking board with my name on it, looking completely betrayed. I trusted you. I had your back. And you do this to me? He looked so genuinely hurt that I pulled out a strawberry lollipop and put it on his desk. I won't take the test next time. Asher grabbed the candy, his eyes suddenly blazing with determination. I accept your challenge. Huh? What challenge? He used to be pretty laid back, like a street punk who barely paid attention in class. And still, he'd always come in first. Teachers and classmates treated him like a genius. But this time, me, the so-called intellectually challenged kid, beat the genius. Unheard of. Unbelievable. Classmates assumed I cheated and reported me to the school. I got called into the office. Willow, given your unexpected performance, some students have questioned the authenticity of your results. Do you have anything to say in your defense? The guy asking was the dean of students, a chubby middle-aged man. His tone was gentle, but his words had an edge. I didn't like him. Why would I defend myself? He paused, then frowned. Because students reported you for cheating, the burden of proof is on the accuser. If they're accusing me of cheating, they should provide evidence, not make me prove my innocence. I'm not explaining anything. This level of test doesn't even require cheating. If there are any questions, talk to my lawyer. My brother literally owns a law firm. Might as well use it. I didn't feel like listening to him anymore, so I went back to class. Talking that much was exhausting. The moment I sat down, I collapsed onto my desk with a long sigh. Little Moonbeam, are you crying? I opened my eyes to find Asher's face right next to mine, staring at me with that boyish intensity. Who hurt you? Tell me. I'll confront them. I looked up at him. He was contorted into some weird position just to see my face. The dean of students. I stared at him unblinking. Asher planted his foot on the chair and slammed his hand on the desk. That jerk messed with my moonbeam. I'm gonna teach him a lesson. That same day, I saw a post on the school forum. The dean of students. Bike tires had been mysteriously slashed by a kind stranger. The school couldn't prove I cheated, so they accepted my results. They still called my mom to inform her of the situation. I've always been the focus of attention in my family, so when they heard I got first place, everyone dropped what they were doing and came home. Except my second sister. She was in the middle of surgery. You can't exactly pause that. Mom and Dad literally pulled out a magnifying glass to study my report card. Then they passed it around like it was a historical artifact. No signs of grade tampering. Did she cheat? That doesn't make sense. She's too lazy and too simple-minded to cheat. I'm telling you, she finally got smart. I always said there's no one simple in this family. My third brother's comment caused chaos. At night, my parents took me to get my IQ tested again. The specialist looked at the results, his hands trembling with excitement. This child is a genius. IQ of 190. Higher than average. My parents didn't believe it. They were in shock. Didn't they say she was intellectually challenged? Before the specialist concluded, either she was faking it or her intelligence just awakened. My parents looked at me. Which one? I answered without hesitation. The second one. They laughed bitterly. Right. So you were faking it. Faked it for over a decade. You're like a plastic bag full of nothing but air. Faced with their sarcasm, I stayed silent. I felt too bad for them. Should have just kept pretending to be challenged my whole life. Mom gently asked, Willow, why did you pretend to be simple-minded? I munched on my chips. Crunch. Crunch. Because smart people get watched by everyone. Simple people only get watched by you guys. As long as I was challenged, you wouldn't make me interact with strangers. Socializing is exhausting. I'm too lazy to even take the MBTI test. Because there are too many questions. Not wanting to deal with that many people is perfectly reasonable. Mom smiled sweetly. Then she and Dad teamed up and disciplined me. Since I wasn't pretending anymore, I really stopped pretending. I copied Asher's pose, planting my foot on the table. Folks, I have a confession. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. My parents' efforts resulted in 0 damage. My brother was amazed. Little Moonbeam, when did you learn Taekwondo? Taught myself in my room. It's great for fitness, for helping people, for self-defense. The ultimate life skill. My family didn't know whether to laugh or cry about why I'd been faking it. My second sister patted my head. Our little Willow doesn't need to work hard. Our family has enough money for you to spend your whole life. My third brother and fourth sister shot her icy glares. Fourth sister said coolly, half this family does research, which burns money. Only me and third brother actually make money. Where do you get the confidence to say that? Willow? Our family's broke. Learn business with me. Third brother immediately cut. In no way. Little Moonbeam's so pretty. I've always said she should be in entertainment. None of you are stealing her from me. My oldest brother patted my shoulder. Come with me. Use the law to protect people. Even mom and dad joined the battle after a long argument. My third brother suggested, stop fighting. What we say doesn't matter. Willow should decide what she wants. Everyone turned to stare at me, eyes burning with expectation. I felt like a fish on a cutting board. I grinned. I want to do nothing and live off you guys. Mom, dream on. Dad, delusional. Oldest brother, unrealistic. Fourth sister, ridiculous. Third brother's eyes lit up. I totally agree. Everyone shot him death glares. He straightened up immediately. Morally corrupt. Back at school, everyone stared at me like I was some kind of alien. See, this is why being a genius is troublesome. So annoying. I walked into class and sat down, accepting everyone's stares. I pulled out the breakfast from the bag on my desk and started eating, glancing at Asher, who was buried in his books. First time I'd ever seen him study this hard. I was touched. Since he brought me breakfast every day, I decided to comfort him. You don't have to work this hard. It's okay if you can't beat me. No need to feel inferior. After all, I'm a genius. Asher froze, then burst out laughing. Moonbeam. Will you have issues if you don't brag? I narrowed my eyes and smirked. Very well. You're the first to doubt me, man. You've successfully caught my attention. Asher reached into my desk drawer and pulled out a book. See, oh Sterling. Your wife just passed the civil service exam. He opened his mouth, took a moment, and finally said, You're pretty. Inspirational, huh? For some reason, I kept feeling this faint hostile intent. Like someone was watching me, plotting against me. I looked around. Nothing, but I was sure someone was scheming. The first 2 periods were English, so morning reading was also English. The teacher was a middle-aged woman who usually looked stern. But today she came over to me with a big smile. Willow, you're the only one in the whole school who got a perfect score. I read your essay. It's excellent. You've been hiding your skills all this time, huh? The whole school's shocked. Keep it up, miss. I liked you better when you were mean. Her smile froze. She took a deep breath. Study more, talk less. Remember that? It'll serve you well. Someone in the class snorted with laughter. She turned to look, but suddenly everyone was reading extra loud. She couldn't figure out who it was after the teacher set the example. The moment class ended, my classmates swarmed me. Willow, weren't you supposed to be simple-minded? How do you suddenly get so smart? I know. She must have been reborn. Share the future test answers with us. Being reborn doesn't change your brain, dummy. She obviously got a system. Is it one of those study systems that shocks you if you don't improve? I kept eating my breakfast, listening to their wild theories, and finally spoke up. Is there any chance I'm actually just a genius? Who's been pretending to be simple this whole time? The class went silent. Then everyone shook their heads in unison. The system theory makes way more sense. They read just as many web novels as I do. Asher draped his arm over my shoulder. Willow's been faking it the whole time. I always knew someone from the back row called out liar. Yesterday you said she betrayed you. The classroom air felt heavy. It tasted like burnt static. I chewed my breakfast sandwich slowly. Someone was definitely watching me. The hostile intent pricked the back of my neck, like ice slipping down a warm spine. Asher's laugh faded into a low hum. He noticed it too. His bleached blonde hair dipped as he leaned closer. You okay, Moonbeam? He whispered. I swallowed the dry bread. Someone wants me dead. I said it flatly. Asher's eyes hardened into cracked flint. He didn't take it as a joke. Before he could speak, the classroom door clicked open. The sound was a snapped bone in the quiet room. Our homeroom teacher walked in. A boy followed her. He wore the school uniform flawlessly. No wrinkles, No personality. His silver wire-rimmed glasses caught the harsh fluorescent light. "Class, this is Silas," the teacher announced. Silas smiled. It was a surgically precise expression. His gaze swept the room and locked onto me. The hostility spiked. It smelled like ozone and polished brass. I wanted to go back to sleep. 7 years old. Hiding under the staircase. Watching my oldest brother tear up his perfect report card because Dad said it lacked soul. Genius is a curse. I promised myself I would never bleed for a grade. But this Silas guy was glaring at me. Like I owed him money. "Take a seat behind Willow," the teacher pointed. Of course. Plot convenience is exhausting. Silas walked down the aisle. His footsteps made no sound. He sat down directly behind me. I leaned my head onto my desk. The cool wood felt nice against my cheek. "The fake idiot," Silas whispered. His voice was rust scraping across midnight glass. I didn't move. Asher's chair squeaked loudly. He was turning around. I kicked Asher's ankle under the desk. He stopped. "Ignore him," I mumbled into my folded arms. I am too lazy for a rival. Rivals require energy. Energy requires calories. I only had one sandwich left. The morning dragged on like a wounded animal. During recess, I took out my phone. My fourth sister sent a text. SCO stock dropping. Rumors of a data breach. Annoying. I stared at the screen. SCO was her life's work. She built that company from scratch. I typed back a slow response. "Want me to check?" "You're a lazy bug. Don't strain your massive brain." She was mocking me, but affectionately. I closed the chat. A shadow fell over my phone. Silas stood there. "Your sister's firewall is pathetic," he said. My heart did a strange, slow thump. The threat was real. He wasn't here for me. He was here to ruin my family. My fingers curled into tight, pale fists. "What did you do?" I asked. My voice lacked its usual lazy drawl. "Just a little test." Silas adjusted his glasses. "A genius should be able to trace it." He dropped a black USB drive on my desk. "Stop playing dumb, Willow." He walked away. I stared at the black plastic rectangle. It looked like a coffin for my peaceful life. Asher snatched the drive. "Don't plug it in," he warned. "It's a trap." "I know." I took it back from him. I pulled out my modified tablet. The one I used to read web novels. It had a custom OS I built in middle school. Because I was too lazy to wait for loading screens, I plugged the drive into a secure sandbox environment. Lines of code spilled across the screen. Green venom on black glass. It wasn't just malware. It was a targeted extraction worm. Routing directly to my sister's company servers. Silas was using the school's IP to mask the attack. If it succeeded, SCO's confidential designs would leak. And the trace would lead back to me. Framing the newly discovered genius for corporate espionage. Clever. Exhausting. I sighed heavily. "Moonbeam?" Asher asked. "I have to work." I hated working. My fingers hit the digital keyboard. Blurry speed. I didn't think about the syntax. The code flowed like breathing. I built a mirrored server in 3 minutes. Redirected the worm's payload into a dead-end loop. Then I tracked the origin ping. Silas's laptop. 2 rows back. I didn't just stop his attack. I opened his hard drive. I found his encrypted folders. I bypassed his encryption by exploiting a lazy kernel flaw. He was smart, but rigid. Rigid things break. Lazy things bend. I downloaded everything. Then I wiped his system clean. Total brick. I closed my tablet. 5 minutes had passed. I opened a strawberry lollipop and put it in my mouth. The sweet artificial taste grounded me. Behind me, a loud slam. Silas hit his desk. His pristine composure cracked. "You." He hissed the word. I didn't turn around. My screen is dead, he choked out. Have you tried turning it off and on again? I asked. Asher barked a laugh. The hostility from Silas turned into pure heat. The bell rang. Saved by the system. At lunch, Asher dragged me to the rooftop. Talk, he demanded. He crossed his arms. His custom-tailored blazer caught the harsh wind. He attacked my sister's company, I said. I leaned against the wire fence. I hit him back. Asher's expression darkened. Silas Vance. He said the name like a curse. You know him? His family owns Vance Tech. Rivals to my sister. And rivals to the Sterlings, Asher added. He kicked a stray pebble. He's an engineered prodigy. What does that mean? No childhood. Just tutors and tests. I shivered. That was exactly what my parents wanted to avoid. That was why they let me be lazy. They had seen the damage in my older siblings. They didn't want to break their youngest. I suddenly missed my mom. He hates you, Asher looked at me. Why? Because you don't try. And you beat him anyway? I shook my head. I didn't even know him until today. He saw the news. What news? Asher pulled up his phone. A local news article. Hidden genius discovered, local high schooler scores perfect. My picture was there. A blurry candid from the hallway. My third brother did this, I groaned. Celebrity PR machine at work. He probably thought he was helping. Silas couldn't handle that someone naturally gifted was ignoring their potential. Asher sounded bitter. While he bleeds for every percentage point. I looked at Asher's bleached hair. Is that why you dress like a punk? He froze. Because you're tired of being the perfect Sterling heir? His silence was a heavy anchor. It dragged the conversation down. I just like the jacket, he lied. I didn't push. We all have our armor. Mine is a blanket and a bag of chips. His is hair dye and leather. That afternoon, the intercom crackled. Willow, please report to the dean's office. Round 2. I dragged my feet down the hallway. Every step was a chore. I opened the door. The chubby dean was there. He looked smug. Silas was sitting in the corner. My oldest brother was also there. Wait. My lawyer brother? He wore a sharp charcoal suit. His briefcase rested on his knees. Willow, my brother smiled. It was a terrifying, bloodthirsty smile. The kind he used before destroying a witness. What's going on? I asked. I sat in the empty chair. This student, the dean pointed at Silas. Claims you hacked his computer and destroyed his academic research. He has server logs. The dean looked thrilled. He finally had a reason to expel me. His slashed bike tires were still unavenged. I admitted. The dean gasped. Silas smirked. My brother didn't even blink. But, I continued lazily. I only did it in self-defense. He initiated a cyber attack on SCO. A multi-million-dollar corporation. Using the school's unsecured network. I pulled a flash drive from my pocket. Not the black one. A pink one with a bunny on it. Here are the packet traces. Including his original keystroke logs. And the Vance Tech proprietary worm he used. I tossed it on the dean's desk. Corporate espionage carries a heavy federal sentence. My brother stood up. He buttoned his suit jacket. As SCO's retained legal counsel. And this minor's legal guardian in this meeting. We are prepared to press charges. The dean started sweating. His smugness melted into a puddle of panic. Now, let's not be hasty, the dean stammered. Silas stood up. His fists were shaking. You forged that data. Silas yelled. Prove it, I yawned. The burden of proof is on the accuser. I threw the dean's words right back at him. It felt incredibly satisfying. Silas glared at me with absolute venom. You're wasting your brain. You don't deserve that intellect. You treat it like a joke. His voice cracked. He wasn't just angry. He was broken. I saw the dark circles under his eyes. The tremble in his perfectly manicured fingers. 10 years old. Staring at my second sister. She hadn't slept in 3 days. Cramming for medical school exams. She looked like a ghost haunting her own body. I didn't want to be a ghost. Intelligence isn't a debt, I told Silas. I don't owe the world anything just because I have a fast brain. I belong to myself. Silas stared at me. The words didn't compute for him. His entire life was built on owing the world his brilliance. He stormed out of the office. The dean looked at my brother. Are you really pressing charges? If he comes near my sister again, I'll buy this school and turn it into a parking lot. My brother smiled politely. Have a good day, Dean. We left the office. I felt exhausted. Drama drains my social battery. Thanks for coming, I told my brother. Mom called me. She said the school requested your presence. We don't take chances with our moonbeam. He ruffled my hair. I swatted his hand away. I handled it though. I saw. He looked proud. I hated it. Expectations were forming. I needed to squash them immediately. I'm sleeping through dinner tonight. Don't wake me up. He laughed. When I returned to class, the atmosphere was different. Silas's desk was empty. The students were staring at me. But it wasn't curiosity anymore. It was awe. The news of the showdown had leaked. Probably the dean's secretary. You hacked a hacker, someone whispered. I put my head down. I am a potato, I mumbled. Potatoes do not hack. Asher sat next to me. He slid a cold juice box against my cheek. Drink up, super potato. You saved your sister. And my family, indirectly. Vance Tech taking down SEO would have ruined the market balance. I pierced the juice box with the straw. Does this mean you owe me a favor? I owe you my life, he said dramatically. Good. Do my homework for a month? He chuckled. The sound was warm sunlight on a cold floor. But the peace didn't last. Peace never lasts when you're surrounded by overachievers. Friday evening. The Sterling family hosted a charity gala. My family was invited. All of us. Mom forced me into a dress. It was a pale blue silk thing. Too many layers. I felt like a fancy pastry. You look beautiful, my fourth sister adjusted my collar. I look edible, I corrected. Try not to sleep under the buffet table this time. No promises. We arrived in a fleet of cars. The venue was an opulent hotel ballroom. Crystal chandeliers hung like frozen tears. The music was a slow, agonizing classical piece. I immediately scanned for the food. Target acquired. A tower of crab puffs. I started my stealth mission across the room. Dodging socialites. Avoiding eye contact. I was almost there. Willow. A voice blocked my path. It was a tall, older man. He had Asher's eyes, but none of the warmth. Mr. Sterling. Asher's father. Hello, I said carefully. I've heard a lot about you recently. His voice was polished mahogany. Smooth, hard, and expensive. My son speaks highly of your hidden talents. I'm just lazy, I deflected. Modesty is a waste of time. He swirled his champagne. Asher has been distracted lately. Playing dress-up in leather jackets. Pretending he isn't the heir to an empire. I didn't say anything. He needs a proper influence. Someone who understands the burden of exceptionalism. He was looking right through me. Treating me like a tool to fix his son. I think Asher is fine, I said. He's ranked second in the school. Second is first place for losers. Mr. Sterling took a sip. I expect you to push him. Make him compete. If he falls behind, I'll send him to boarding school in Switzerland. My stomach dropped. He wasn't suggesting. He was threatening. If I didn't play his game, he would take Asher away. My only friend who brought me breakfast. The only one who knew I was faking before the test. I don't play tutor, I stared back. Then he leaves next month. Mr. Sterling walked away. I stood frozen. I just wanted to be lazy and eat crab puffs. A tyrannical billionaire was threatening my friend. Do I engage in the exhausting world of high society politics? Or let Asher get exiled? My hands clenched into fists. The silk dress crinkled. I hated trying. I really, really hated it. But I hated bullies more. I found Asher by the balcony. He was wearing a tuxedo. No bleached tips. He had dyed it back to black for the event. He looked like a stranger. You look miserable, I walked up to him. He smiled faintly. It's a requirement for the Sterling name. Your dad cornered me. Asher's posture stiffened. What did he say? He said if you don't beat me academically, he's shipping you to Switzerland. Asher gripped the balcony rail. His knuckles turned white. He found out about my failing grades in the mock business exams. You failed? On purpose. Asher looked down at the city lights. I thought if I proved I was useless at business, he'd let me study music. Music. The punk rock persona wasn't just a phase. It was a desperate cry for a different life. He doesn't care about your music. I stated the harsh truth. I know. Asher sounded defeated. So, what do we do? We fight. I said it before I could stop myself. Asher looked at me in shock. You fight? Don't get used to it. It's a one-time offer. I leaned against the railing. We are going to make you undeniable. How? There's a National Youth Innovation Summit next week. My fourth sister is one of the judges. If you submit a project and win, it proves your business value. And your dad can't exile a national champion. But I don't have a project. I do. I tapped my temple. I've had dozens of blueprints rotting in here for years. Too lazy to build them. I'll design it, you pitch it. Co-founders. Asher's eyes widened. Hope flared like a dying ember catching wind. You'd do that for me? You bring me strawberry lollipops. A life debt must be repaid. We shook hands on the balcony. A pact sealed in the cold night air. The next day, my laziness officially died. R.I.P. Peaceful weekends. We met at my house. My family was shocked. Willow is willingly studying on a Saturday? Mom took pictures. Dad tried to frame my scratch paper. I locked the bedroom door. Focus, I told Asher. I rolled out a massive sheet of paper. The summit theme is sustainable tech. We are going to build an AI-driven resource allocation algorithm for urban power grids. Asher blinked. Can we do that in a week? I can write the core logic in 3 days. You need to memorize the pitch, the market data, and the scalability models. We worked. It was excruciating. My brain hummed with energy I usually suppressed. It felt like waking up muscles that had atrophied. Painful but exhilarating. Asher matched my pace. His natural genius, unburdened by rebellion, was terrifying. He grasped complex theorems instantly. We argued. We ordered 12 pizzas. We slept on the floor amidst crumpled papers. 14 years old. Watching my third brother practice his script until his throat bled. Success requires blood. I was bleeding now. But it wasn't for me. It was for him. Day 5. The code was compiled. The presentation was perfect. We ran a simulation. Efficiency increased by 40%. It works, Asher whispered. He stared at the screen like it was magic. Of course it works. I stretched my aching back. I am a genius, remember? He threw a pillow at me. The day of the summit arrived. A massive convention center filled with prodigies. Booths everywhere. Silas Vance was there. Of course he was. He had a massive booth displaying a new drone tech. He saw us and sneered. Sterling. Silas walked over. Brought your pet potato? She's my co-founder, Asher corrected calmly. Silas glanced at our modest setup. Just a laptop and a screen. Algorithms. How boring. Hardware is the future. Your future is a prison cell if you keep hacking, I retorted. Silas flinched. He stalked away. The judging began. My fourth sister walked down the aisle with the other judges. She looked strictly professional. No favoritism in her eyes. She stopped at Silas's booth. He demonstrated his drone. It was flawless. The judges took notes. Then they came to us. Asher stepped up. He commanded the space. His voice was steady, resonant, confident. He explained the algorithm. He showed the simulation. He answered every technical question without hesitation. Mr. Sterling was in the audience. I saw him watching. His stoic mask slipped slightly. He was impressed. Then, the final judge spoke. A tech billionaire known for brutal critiques. The math is theoretically sound. But algorithms fail in unpredictable real-world traffic surges. How does your model handle a localized EMP event? It was a trick question. A sabotage question. Asher hesitated. He looked at me. I stepped forward. It doesn't. The judges murmured. It isolates. I pulled up the backend code. The AI doesn't try to fix a dead zone. It severs the connection and creates a microgrid barrier, sacrificing the dead zone to keep the macrogrid functional. It's the digital equivalent of an amputation. Cruel, but necessary for survival. The billionaire raised an eyebrow. Pragmatic. I like it. My fourth sister gave me an imperceptible nod. We waited for the results. The hours dragged like sandpaper across my nerves. I ate 3 bags of chips. Stress eating. A new habit. Finally, the announcer took the stage. First place for the Youth Innovation Summit. Project Aegis. Asher Sterling and Willow. The crowd erupted. Asher grabbed me and hugged me. I patted his back awkwardly. Too much contact, I mumbled. He laughed and let go. We walked onto the stage. They handed us a massive glass trophy. Flashbulbs blinded me. This was it. The end of my anonymity. The end of the plastic bag full of air. I was a known entity now. Mr. Sterling met us off stage. He looked at the trophy. Acceptable. He looked at Asher. You'll stay in the country. But you are joining the board as an observer on Monday. He didn't wait for a response. He just walked away. Asher slumped against the wall. I won. But I still lost. He was trapped in the corporate machine. Just a higher tier of the cage. I felt a cold surge of guilt. I helped him win, but I cemented his chains. What about your music? I asked quietly. Music doesn't run empires, Moonbeam. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Thanks for saving me from exile, anyway. He took the trophy and left with his family's handlers. I stood alone in the hallway. My family rushed me. Cheering loudly. Celebrating openly. I felt entirely hollow. The cost of action. By intervening, I had altered his destiny. I had played God with his life just to keep my friend close. Was I any better than his father? Monday morning. School felt different. I wasn't the weird, fake stupid kid anymore. I was half of the genius duo that won the summit. People asked me for notes. They tried to sit near me. It was suffocating. Asher wasn't there. His desk was empty. He was at a board meeting. Doing corporate things. I stared at his empty chair. A heavy realization settled over me. I had lost my comfortable routine. My sanctuary was breached. At lunch, I went to the rooftop alone. I didn't bring any food. I just watched the clouds. The door creaked open. I expected Asher. It was Silas. He looked worse than before. Rumpled clothes. Unkempt hair. The perfect facade was shattered. You ruined me. His voice was a frayed wire. Vance Tech lost a major government contract because we lost that summit. My father cut off my funding. I'm out. I looked at him. No pity. No anger. Just exhaustion. You ruined yourself. You focused on destruction instead of creation. Your drone was good. But you spent your energy hating me. Silas stepped closer. His eyes were wild. You don't get it. You never had to bleed for their approval. Your family loves you even when you're a potato. He spat the word. Mine only loves me when I'm a weapon. He pulled a small device from his pocket. It looked like a detonator. My heart slammed against my ribs. What is that? A localized EMP. I built it based on your little theory at the summit. I'm going to wipe the school's mainframe. Every grade. Every record. And I'm going to make it look like Project Aegis malfunctioned and did it. He was insane. The pressure had completely cracked his mind. Silas, don't. The server room is right beneath us. If you trigger that, you'll fry pacemakers in the hospital next door. He hesitated. His hand shook. He hadn't thought about collateral damage. He only thought about revenge. I have nothing left to lose. His thumb hovered over the red button. I had no time. No time to be lazy. No time to hack a system. I relied on my oldest secret. The one I revealed to my family weeks ago. I am a black belt. I moved. Fast. I closed the distance in 2 steps. A spinning crescent kick. My heel struck his wrist. The device flew into the air. Silas gasped in pain. I caught the device before it hit the ground. I pinned Silas to the floor with a joint lock. He struggled wildly. Let me go. Stop moving or I'll dislocate your shoulder. My voice was ice. He stopped. He started sobbing. Harsh, ugly tears of a broken boy. I sat there holding him down. Holding the EMP device. The rooftop was silent except for his crying. I felt a profound sadness. This was the dark side of genius. The burnout. The explosion. My parents were right to fear it. The school security burst through the roof doors. Followed by the dean. They took Silas away. He didn't fight back anymore. He was just empty. The dean looked at me holding the device. Did you just save the school? I saved my nap time. I handed him the EMP. Throw that in a Faraday cage. I walked downstairs. My hands were shaking slightly. Adrenaline crash. I went to the nurse's office and slept for 3 hours. When I woke up, Asher was sitting beside the cot. He was wearing his business suit. His tie was loosened. I heard you went full ninja on Silas. He handed me a strawberry lollipop. I took it. He tried to fry the servers. He's in a psychiatric hold now. Asher looked down. My dad bought Vance Tech's remaining assets this afternoon. The rivalry is over. The Sterlings won. Congratulations, I said flatly. I hated every minute of that board meeting. Asher looked at me. His eyes were intensely vulnerable. I want out, Willow. I don't want to end up like Silas. A broken tool. I sat up. The paper crinkled under me. Then get out. How? I lose my trust fund. I lose my family. You have me. The words slipped out. Raw. Unfiltered. Asher stared at me. My family has enough money for me to do nothing. You can do nothing with me. Or you can play your music. My third brother can get you a record deal in 10 minutes. Asher laughed. It was a real laugh. The first one I'd heard in weeks. A punk rocker backed by a lazy genius. It's a terrible business model. The worst, I agreed. Will you really help me defy my father? I'm already tired just thinking about it. But yes. He leaned forward. He rested his forehead against mine. A gesture of pure exhaustion and pure trust. Thank you, Moonbeam. The next few months were a battlefield. Asher formally renounced his inheritance. Mr. Sterling unleashed a legal and media war. My family responded with overwhelming force. My lawyer brother tied Mr. Sterling in litigation for years. My CEO sister aggressively expanded SEO, crushing Sterling market shares. My celebrity brother debuted Asher's first single. It went platinum in a week. The whole fake romance thing my siblings did? Turns out real rebellion is much more effective. I couldn't be lazy anymore. I became the lead strategist for SCO's tech division. I still worked from my bed mostly. But my brain was always active. I accepted the curse of genius. Because I found something worth the effort. Protecting the people who let me be me. One evening, our blended, chaotic family was having dinner. Asher was there. He was officially adopted into our mess. He had pink hair now. A new era. Mom and Dad were arguing about quantum physics. My siblings were yelling about stock prices. I sat quietly in the corner. Eating my cake. Just like when I was a kid. But this time, I wasn't alone. Asher slid a new flavor of lollipop across the table. Blue raspberry. I unwrapped it. Life is exhausting. Socializing is terrible. Effort is painful. But as I looked at the noisy, brilliant, loving people around me, I realized something. Sometimes, the hardest work yields the sweetest rest. I closed my eyes. The chaos sounded like a symphony. A beautiful, messy symphony. I fell asleep right there at the dinner table. And for the first time in my life, I didn't dream of running away. I dreamed of tomorrow. A tomorrow where I would wake up and choose to fight again. Lazy, but lethal. That's the Willow way. The end of the beginning. A genius reborn from the ashes of her own apathy. Ready to face whatever exhausted her next. Because some things are worth the calories. Even if it means giving up a perfectly good nap. The world will just have to deal with my brilliance. On my schedule, of course. Always on my schedule. No exceptions. Except for him. And them. My family. My chaotic, brilliant, ridiculous family. We are unstoppable. We are inevitable. We are, unfortunately, very loud. I opened one eye. Keep it down, I mumbled. They all laughed. The sound wrapped around me like a warm blanket. I let it pull me into sleep. Peace at last. True peace. Not the fake peace of ignorance. The earned peace of a battle won. Good night, world. Don't wake me up early. Or else. I'll hack your alarm clocks. Sweet dreams. Forever. Done. Truly. Sleep. Now. End.